I still cannot believe that we have Resident Evil right in this game for Dead by Daylight. Now, I just thought I'd come out with like a discussion video to talk about the next chapter and things that you guys would like to see. I'm curious about what kind of games that you guys play, or horror games, favorite classic horror movies that you guys would like to see for this game. And I did a similar video like this, so I thought I'd do another one just thinking about what they could do for the game for potential characters. And I thought about other classic games from PS1, Xbox, and other horror movie characters that are iconic characters from horror games or anything like that that you can possibly think of to be potentially added into this game for chapter 21, or just any, it can be chapter 22, whatever, just for the future. And before I even get started and start naming the characters from my list here, you guys can probably see from the thumbnail, you got Sebastian from Evil Within, you got Pinhead from some of the classic horrors and stuff like that for potential killers. Pennywise, I don't know if they're doing another clown in the game, but we'll see. And Frank West, I was thinking as a unique character from Dead Rising, the Dead Rising series, or they could do Chuck Green. I don't know. They can do anybody from those sort of games. Since we have a Capcom license from these characters like Leon, Jill, Claire Redfield, and Chris Redfield, the brother and sister from one of my favorite series of Resident Evil. So that's why I had to get this. The Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of the series. So that's why I ended up getting the cosmetic. Got Chucky. That's one of my all-time favorites that I wish was in the game. And as small as he is, he can just cast a chant and have the entity help him hook his survivors, and maybe have a unique sort of mori with a series of knife strikes on the survivor. I was going to say on the opponents. But and another character that most people probably don't know about is Regina from Dino Crisis. Now, I'm not saying add a dinosaur into the game or whatever, a giant dinosaur just eating up the survivors. But they could bring just Regina in as a solo survivor, just similar to how, for example, they did for Evil Dead. I'm excited for the game that's coming out very soon for next gen and stuff like that. For Ashley Williams, Evil Dead had its chapter. It was actually a summer release during E3. The moment that they announced it during E3 was, or the week of E3 or the weekend, I believe, they had Ashley come out. As soon as he got announced, he was released the same day. So he was a solo survivor. So they could do a solo survivor chapter for like Regina from Dino Crisis. But those are just some of the characters that you guys can see from clicking on this video, and I'm going to have listed in the description, and maybe some other characters we can discuss. But this game, before we even get to even trying to think about different ideas and potential chapters and characters, they need to fix this game, because there's already been a lot of problems with crashing, freezing, flickering palettes that from my experience from the game. So that's why I've been holding off on trying to stream the game, because I don't want the game constantly crashing. But I'm willing to play even more of it because it's super fun to play. For Survivor, Nemesis is just a lot of fun to play with, and just punching the survivors is even more fun, and just running around chasing them, infecting them, and with limited amount of vaccines to take away that infection from your survivor, and you're just going to probably end up having to stick with it, trying to make it to the exit if you can, if a zombie doesn't end up taking you down. You gotta watch out for them, because sometimes the zombies can camp the hook, but they're controlled by the AI. But I really like this chapter for what it is, just to talk about that a little bit. But they have a lot of things they need to fix, so hopefully the hot fix will come out maybe on Tuesday or maybe sometime this week. But no rush for the developers at all. But I knew something like this was going to happen because of the potential hype of Resident Evil. But games like Alan Wake, I was going to probably bring up in this video, is another chapter as a unique survivor they can bring in, even though, just like I said with Regina and maybe something with like Sebastian and Frank West, they don't really necessarily have to have killers to be included with their chapters. They can just come out as an individual survivor and as a collab or a crossover for survivors with their own unique perks, and maybe a map that can go with the game itself. Maybe like a little park from Dino Crisis that has the dinosaurs, and that contains the dinosaurs and different sort of species in the map that are in the cages that'll jump at you. Just like it makes me think of like the shaking dead bodies in I was gonna say Stranger Things, but the Midwich Elementary School from the Silent Hill chapter. See how those bodies are in the cages and they move and make noises. Ooh, they scare the daylights out of you sometimes. And they could do something like that. Maybe like a map from Dino Crisis or something like that. I mean, just it's so many things they can do now that they have Resident Evil. And who saw this chapter being included? One of my favorite iconic horror games that I played from the PS1 era all the way up till now to the PlayStation 5. But it shows that all the possibilities are there. Anybody can get added into this game. And another character I want to throw out there is Jason Voorhees. But I don't think that's going to happen, because I already mentioned it before with Friday the 13th having that lawsuit and if different things going on. But just imagine that if they had Jason Voorhees in this game, Friday the 13th will be completely dead, because all those fans and those players that are still playing the game with dedicated servers down for good and now being transformed into peer-to-peer servers, they will have something new that they can get into, because they'll have their Jason Voorhees running around hacking and slashing the survivors up and trying to do unique Moris and stuff like that. Maybe he can have a series of multiple Moris where he can do different things to the survivors, crushing their head and stuff like that, similar to the Friday the 13th games, different executions. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the game and just different predictions. There's so many things that they can do with Frank West from the Dead Rising series, and that can have their own little zombies as well. But since we have zombies in the game, it made me want to think about games that are other type of zombie games that people like to play from the Dead Rising series, if you guys have played it. But just let me know what you guys think about this, or what character or any sort of killer or survivor you like to see added into this game. And it just brings me back to the Scream chapter with Ghostface. See how he was a solo killer. I'm just surprised that we didn't get like Sydney as a survivor, because Sydney is the sole survivor from the Scream movies that everyone knows about. She will always make it. She was always the target, the target that no matter who was behind that mask or under that mask for Ghostface, they were always gunning for her, gunning for Sydney to try to take her out, because she was the sole survivor that survived everything that went on ever since everything went down in the first movie, and it was just multiple targets and victims with her friends being killed one by one. So I'm just surprised like chapters like that didn't get Sydney from it. She should be in the game. That's what I thought was going to happen. But you see how it's just different things that happen with licenses and stuff like that. Just because they can't get that killer, maybe they can get a survivor from that movie, that particular movie, or that particular classic game that we played. It doesn't even have to be a PlayStation game. So that's why I'm bringing Alan Wake into the equation, because he used the light to protect them, and they can make some kind of spooky dark map, having ghosts pop out and scare you, or some kind of different little map to go with the Alan Wake. We'll have Alan Wake in the game, but just have a map to go with it. And even if it's not, they can just bring the character with their own unique perks and stuff like that. And since he walks around with like the flashlight, for example, he can have like a special flashlight perk where his flashlight will probably, the burning rate of his flashlight will probably be slightly decreased if he has like a particular perk. You see what I'm saying? So they can do a lot of different things like that to make the character unique and have that one unique perk, and he can be like some kind of flashlight specialist. So the ideas are out there. I can go on and on with some of these characters. So I don't know if we'll even get Evil Within, Pinhead as a killer, Frank West or something like that, Chucky, who I want to see the most out of everyone else from the classic horrors, Pennywise or something like that. But we already have a clown in the game. He should be taken out of the game and replace him. Let's put Pennywise in the game and remove the clown. But they could probably just do two of them, but we never know. Because all these other killers are running different weapons, almost similar to each other in a way. But let me know what you guys think about the predictions and the ideas in my wish list, and what are some of your characters for wish list that you like to bring to the game, a map or any sort of cosmetic or something like that. We didn't get all the Resident Evil characters, and they like Carlos and all that. Mr. X could have been in the game instead of Nemesis, because Nemesis is just as iconic as Mr. X, so they could have did anybody. But those, see all those different possibilities, you never know. But I just wanted to discuss it a little bit for this video, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. But I hope that they can fix the problems, the main problems of this chapter first, before they dare get started with the new events that's coming out in July.